Well, hello everybody. This is Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do acid.
No, you know better. Oxalic acid. Well, folks, how are you guys doing on this hot summer day? It is Thursday, the 10th of August, and it has been 4 days since I last vaporized these hives. So I'm out here at the yard in town, and it is a hot one, folks. I just got off the job site, and we were at 104 when I left there. I think it's cooler here. It's probably closer to 98, 99. I don't think it's quite 100 here. When you get out of town a little bit, it's a little better, all that concrete and asphalt, but it's hot nonetheless. I'm gonna get in the shade really quick, and I wanted to do a quick video. Hopefully this is a midweek video, because my last video, I tell you, I hope the concern showed through. In the next video, I'm probably gonna say that same statement. I hope the concern showed through, because I'm a bit concerned with the hives. You saw the large mite count we had. I kept that thing loaded with bees and shook it a few more times and let it sit and shook it. Ended up 20 mites after, you know, sitting for a while. We're in that thing, and that wasn't even quite 300 bees. That cup was just shy about that much over the top of bees. So there's probably 50 less bees in there, maybe more. So anyway, it's concerning. And one of the things that prompted this video is to let you know that it's not all doom and gloom, don't get me wrong. All my hives slow down in the summer immensely, because this heat, I really think the heat, like I do know heat affects queens' laying ability. It actually can harm them to an extent. It can cause them to actually become infertile at a point, and they've done studies on just how much heat that is. I read it in the American Bee Journal a few years back, and they were experimenting with that because of those Varroa heaters that you can put in hives. I don't even know if they're still available, but they claim to heat the hive to a certain temp and it kills Varroa. Well, what they found was that's true. There's a point where Varroa die, but then that envelope between where you harm your queen and make her infertile, it's real small, so it's not a great method at this point. It's not been perfected, I don't think. So I wouldn't take a chance with it anyway. But the heat and the lack of flow and things such as that do tend to shut these queens down, and my queens do shut down. So my hives are smaller, but what I was seeing was a lot of spotty brood in the first. So out of 7 hives, I think 4 of them had some spotty brood with pupae being pulled out. The other 2 were fine, just had small brood patterns, and I had another one that just started laying. That's not great. So I was at a crossroad of what do I do? I really can't put ApiGuard on in that kind of heat with consistent 105 to 110 each day at the peak of the afternoon, and steady 100s up until that point, and then 90s and 80s. 90s and 80s aren't so bad for ApiGuard. I've done it before in that, but you start reaching the edge of that threshold where I don't want to put it on there. Plus, with the hives weakened down the way they are, I don't need to be shutting down the brood cycle for that long of a period. So they do get smaller, and I expect that. I expect that, and I expect them to be a little bit weaker, but what I saw was pretty weakened hives. But as I went back through, I mean, the bees are flying. Look, the majority of the hives at home have, you know, bees coming and going pretty well, normal looking. I didn't go in them because I don't want to start robbing. These are the same. That can't fool you sometimes, though. Just because they're on the front doesn't mean they're healthy and they're full in the box. That means a lot of them are outside keeping it cool. So anyway, and I want to also say that there were some more dead outs. I told you about the 2, and we had 3 more, one including that hive that got robbed. So you know, that's 5, and then I know there's one over here. It was already one over here last week. I already knew about that one. So that's 6 dead outs, and I do get dead outs before October normally, but 6 by coming up on mid-August, that's a lot. That's scary. So but yeah, that prompted the video because I knew it was doom and gloom kind of, and it is kind of nerve-wracking right now, but all I can do is treat them and make sure, and they're all heavy, they all got food, so I really don't want to pour any feed to them because they got plenty of food for the dirt. I mean, they're super heavy. There's 1 or 2 that got a single that's light, and I can put honey in there. It'd be kind of nice though to give them a Hive Alive or Apis Biological or something in some feed, but I'm not ready to open feed in the midst of robbing season, so that's my problem. So walking over here to the hives, I do have the generator going and oxalic acid waiting to go. Like bees are on the hives. This hive is really, this is a weak one. But they also got a lot of space and a screen bottom, but this one's doing good. That's the back of it. This is the dead one. And then everybody's coming and going. I mean, the hive's got bees, but they're not busting at the seams. And that's normal for this time of year. I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, they look normal. Obviously, that one doesn't because it's a goner. But things look normal for this hot time of the summer. And things will pick up in the fall. But the one thing I wanted to talk about was I saw Ian Steppler's video. I was watching it either this morning or last night, his latest one. And he went through, and the first thing he showed you was how everything was in order. All his hives were in order, his honey house was in order, his office was in order, his yard was in order. He didn't wash the truck though. So he should have washed that, and then he could have said that was in order before the video, because you know, I know he's got all the time in the world. But it struck me, if you continue to watch his video, what he talked about was how everything is in order, yet we're still having to stay on top of the bees. We still have things coming down on the bees, trying to take the bees out. And that's a perfect example of what I saw. You know, I was excited when I went on vacation because I had all the honey pool, the honey house cleaned up. The bees were in order. The bees looked good when I left. Everything was in order. I mean, tons of bees on the fronts of the boxes. Everything rolling well. You know, honey house back in order. The shed was in order. I got all the boxes stacked. Any of the empty comb was put away. Everything was stacked neatly. Supers were put away. But while I went for 2 weeks on vacation, something was still trying to get out of order, my bees. And when I came back, that's when I made that video. And I got to tell you, things were not in order in the hives. There is always an onslaught toward our bees, whether it's pests, weather, you know, other hives, sickness, disease. So, you know, it's one of those things where we got to stay on top of things. We're always on alert for these hives. No matter what we think might be in order, we got to be on top of our game. And I tell you right now, with the drought we got going on, and the heat, and the bees, and the mites, I got to be on top of my game. And all I can do at this point right now is vaporize them. So I'm on 4 days. After this one, I did 4 days at the house. Next week might be 5 days based on my schedule. And then the fourth one will be anywhere from 4 to 6 days. I will do the fourth treatment of oxalic acid. Not the most efficient one, but then again, there's not a lot of brood in the colonies right now. So maybe we can get a good knockdown. I'm gonna go back to what I said, and you're gonna see in another video. I really believe my issue is lack of knockdown. Last year I had tried hop guards for the first time. I ended up putting a second treatment on like it recommended, but I only had a limited amount of strips, so only 1 strip went in. And the mite counts I did afterward, after the first treatment, there was a significant knockdown. Well, significant's not a, you know, from say 6 mites to 2 mites. Then I did that second treatment, which was basically half a dose. And what I did after that in the winter, of course, like I normally would do, is zap them with the OAV. So what I think happened, I honestly believe this, and I don't know that all my hives are infested. I didn't do any more mite counts, but just seeing brood patterns that were spotty in colonies that weren't before, and seeing pupae come out, that's a sign of mites. And we verified that with a mite count on that one. And keep in mind, that one was a feral colony. It had never been treated ever. It come straight out the woods, got on a stand. So maybe I'm worried about nothing, but I don't think I am. I think what I had was a mediocre knockdown in the summer fall time frame when we do our treatments after harvest, and then that allowed, with our warm winter, allowed our mites to build on up or start building back up. And then come winter, when I zapped them with the 2 doses of oxalic acid as normal, I think we lost out. And so in the spring we started with more mites than I normally would start with. I really think that's the problem. Warm winter, bad treatment because I probably should have put a second full dose of hop guard on. But you know, I don't know how efficient or what the efficacy on that would have been anyway. So this year I I wanted to go with Apiguard, but that's not going to be possible. So I'm going with my treatment that I use for years. Oxalic acid vapor, 4 treatments within 6 days apart, anywhere from 5 to 7, 4 times in the fall. I used to do it every September 1st after every single super was off, and I would have good success. Zap them again in January, came into spring looking pretty good and never had real issues. Of course we had some that were infested. Of course I lost some. Every October I have some, and I think that's from mites and different situations with swarms, but normally it's not a lot. This year the number's creeping up higher than I would like. So we're back to that method. I think I'll save the Apiguard for possibly spring, although I hate to shut the brood rearing down. It will be no different than making a split if I was doing a walkaway split. I'll shut her down for a little bit, the temperature should be cool, maybe I can get a full dose on, and we can take care of this. You know how you can really tell you're getting a good dose in the hive? When you're standing next to it with that thing, and I close the bottom sometimes because I got screen boards and those little covers come loose, and I hold them, and all I can hear in the hive is a big roar begin to go. Then you know that they're getting it and they're flapping it and they're blowing it all over the hive, and that's what you want. You want that stuff to coat them. When that stuff sublimates, that's a vapor really. I call it gassing them, but you're really not gassing them, you're vaporizing them. And wow. You can hear them go, you know you're getting a good dose. And I hope that is me killing mites. And I hope we're going to recover. We will, we always do, but I want to kill mites. About to wrap this thing up. My next video will be a good how I do video on how I do OAV. Ooh, so it's starting to get evening. A lot of them have come out. They don't want to deal with the OA inside, and a lot of them are coming home from foraging for water, most likely, and whatever little nectar they may be finding. And it is hot. It's 100 degrees. There's still bees coming into that hive. It's pretty much almost gone, but there are bees in it, but it's queenless. Hot bees. Hot bees. So that's what I'm doing today. That's the video, guys. Just an update. I'm going to get busy zapping mites as best I can. But anyway, wanted to give y'all an update. So appreciate your time. Hope y'all having a great week. And I hope you have a great weekend that's coming up. It's Barry's Best Honey. I'm Mike, and I do bees, not acid. That was a joke, I guess. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and may God bless you. We'll see y'all later.